What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to the Nerdwide podcast. I'm your host, Tyler Haynes, with my good friend and favorite co-host, Mr. Chris Rivers. Now, Chris, your birthday was this past week. How was it, and how was your couple of days off?
Uh, Days off were really good. Birthday went really well.
Awesome.
Got some money for some tires,
Yeah, always
which is
fun.
always helpful, and uh,
Adulting.
and got the Adam West Batman series on Blu-ray
Oh,
too. So
have you started watching them yet?
not yet, no,
Oh, see, that's gonna be
no.
fun. Because way back in the day, we did Batman in review and
Way
watched that movie was our first one. Was it Batman 77? Was that it?
66.
66. And
Yeah,
that was some fun times. That was a good
yeah,
time in comic movies and TV shows.
yeah,
So
yeah. Definitely entertaining.
let's see here. Let's get a quick housekeeping real quick. So there's a lot of stuff I want to get into this week. Don't forget to subscribe to either our YouTube or podcasting service of your choice. If you enjoy the show, make sure you leave us a thumbs up on YouTube or give us a good rating for podcasting apps, including Spotify. If you don't enjoy what you see or hear, make sure you leave us a comment. Let us know how we can improve the show for you. As always, if you want to do more, you can always go to patreon.com/nerdwide. There's three different tiers for three different ways of payments there if you want to do that and give us a little extra bucks our way. Chris,
Did you say bucks or butts?
but whichever. It's however you
Yeah,
want to. We don't have, our OnlyFans isn't up
we're
yet, though. So,
we're not picky.
no. Have you been watching anything else on TV?
Have I been watching any? Let's see. Um, I got a couple more episodes of Oak Island in. Um, Seems like a show I just can't catch up on because I
Mm.
keep taking breaks from it. And no, outside of that, uh, just the big one we're going to talk about.
Mm. I I started Space Force today because their season two just dropped this past week.
Hmm.
So it's been in my little Netflix advertisement. And I was like, I liked The Office, and I've heard some good things about it. So I'm like halfway through the first episode, trying to get into it because I feel like with always with your pilot, you have to get the feel of the show in first. And I
Yeah,
like what they're doing with it. So, but it's gonna once they get into it, I think I'm going to really enjoy it. So we'll see how it goes this
yeah,
week. See, I've watched a lot of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I've been catching up on that podcast this week as well. It's just fun times, the usual
uh
stuff.
right.
Bachelor. Watched a little bit of the NBA All Stars last night, the dunk contest, which was not good, but apparently in the past couple of years it hasn't been good. So
You probably have more enjoyment out of a dunk contest just rewatching the old ones, like where Jordan and Dominique Wilkins went back and forth. And
yeah, well that's what even the commentators saying this is not a good one. I give this one like a C. I'm like, oh, okay,
yeah,
that's not good. The
no,
commentators just talking about it.
yeah, when the commentator's saying that, it's just
Yeah, it's so this is our last week without Superman and Lois for now, but we're going to start going back to just one show. I think we're going to start doubling up. We talked about before the show on movies coming up soon, and so I have a little more content to talk about. So this is just going to be Superman and Lois. But let's be honest, we both could probably talk an hour and a half just on the episode of Superman and
yeah,
Lois. So
yeah. Well, and I'm curious to see what's going to happen because in the past, when we've planned to double up on movies, something happens,
mm-hmm.
right? Something always happens, and we have to miss the episode, or, you know, we, for whatever reason, one or both of us can't view one of the movies that week,
Right.
or whatever. So we end up only doing one movie anyway. So it's,
We'll see if we can break that curse. Well,
yeah,
I mean, now it's with my oldest daughter not having basketball anymore during the weekend. My weekends there's like a
you're
because
wide open.
we go to everyone else's games anyways, and so my Saturday's gonna be free now. I don't know what I'm gonna do with all the free time at this point. So
Yeah,
so we'll see. But let's get into this one. Peacemaker episode 8, the finale. It's Cow or Never. This one was so much fun.
yeah,
I talked about before the episode of I'm a huge sucker when the shows use their intro music in like a fight scene or anywhere into the show. And they did it with the most gruesome stuff. We saw the Peacemaker shield, which was used so well. Like I mean, he shot a Desert Eagle bullet off of it and impaled a dude in his neck. And I was
yeah,
like, yes, just more of this, yes. Um, and then the biggest thing at the end Well, let's talk about the episode first, and then we'll talk about the big drop at the end of the happen. But we see the cow. We had the big moral decision. I'm trying to see if I can find some of the quotes from the Goth butterfly. Is the only thing I can
This
call it.
cow's disgusting, by the
Yeah,
way.
it was so gross. Every time they showed it being milked, I was like, please stop, please, please, please stop. Um, I'm trying to see if I could find the dilemma between the butterflies. Like the whole butterfly thing was, we came here to help save your planet, and we're trying to run it in the background to make sure because our planet was destroyed because our resources and climate change destroyed our planet, and we came here. This is our home, and we don't want to the same thing to happen. That's why we're doing what we're doing, and that's how Judo Master got on to the butterflies because he
Yeah.
bought into that. I thought Peacemaker was about to. I was really excited, but then he said, activate the human torpedo and shot ads through the cow. It was so
Uh-huh.
gross. It was
Yeah.
like the sounds and everything were gross.
The squishiness of it.
Oh, then she just gets poured out the bottom. Oh, but so Peacemaker, I'm gonna put it in the news. I'm gonna say it a little bit here. So Peacemaker is signed on for a season 2, confirmed by James Gunn and John Cena on
Yeah.
Twitter. We are getting
Yeah.
a season 2 of it. One of the big implications is going to be Peacemaker is seeing his dad dead, and
Yeah.
he's having all the flashbacks from that. We see Adeboya and Adebayo. I'm always going to butcher that name. And Peacemaker have their heart to heart. And what was it? He said that it was,
After Eagly,
yeah, after Eagly. And
he
that was
says,
beautiful. He said, "You're my BFF."
yeah.
After Eagly, not Vigilante. But like he was hurt because of the whole diary thing. He said it wasn't
Yeah.
hurt that there was something he said about it because I wasn't hurt that you did it. I think because I thought we were friends or something like that. But the episode started off with 5 minutes of fart sounds. And I was
Yeah.
like, okay, this is a little drawn out. I understand what we're going for here. Maybe bring it back down to 2 or 3 minutes. But other than that, I really enjoyed this episode. Vigilante had some good things. Harcourt gets shot, and I thought I thought they were going to kill her off too. Because I was like, we're going to kill someone off in this squad. But it was just going to be Myrn, though. So I was like,
Yeah.
really expected her to get killed.
Yeah. And she got very close. And what? So the economist, he comes in to try and help and falls and apparently breaks his leg when he
Snaps his
falls.
leg. And they very gruesome on that one, too. Showed it all, and I was like, all right.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just, dude, don't try and do anything athletic
Right.
because he took
He
one step
and just snapped
and
it.
there he went.
I
Yeah.
mean, like we had a lot of good moments for each character. I feel like in this whole episode, like his moment talking about his dye beard, and he
Uh-huh.
says maybe just stop noticing. I got so busy with work and everything. He goes, and no one ever noticed me, and then Peacemaker notices, and it's
Yeah.
a callback to the first episode. I was like, oh, that's so
Yeah, because
good.
they send him in to plant Peacemaker's sonic boom
Right.
helmet in the barn, and he gets stopped. What's the detective's name?
I have no
Um,
idea.
he he gets stopped by the guy detective, right? And
Who's in Riverdale?
he's supposed to act like he's a butterfly.
Mm-hmm.
So they tell him don't show any
Yep.
emotion, just kind of
Motionless
walk
and
in there.
everything.
And so he asked him something about why did the human that you inhabit dye his beard that way? And so that's when he goes into a whole explanation behind dyeing the beard. And I thought it was really, really well done because you figured at some point they were going to address it
Mm-hmm.
because he'd never accepted
Well, I've kind of
or
forgotten all
owned it.
about it. Besides what he just calls him Diebeard.
Yeah,
And,
but that was really, really well done.
I can't wait to see him again. And like that was the thing too. At the end of the episode, like they all show where they're at now,
Uh-huh.
and he's back working at Belle Reve, and he's setting up his desk, and he pulls a picture out of all of them together in the back of the van. And I was like, how all of these characters have grown is beautiful and amazing.
Yeah,
And I really can't wait for season 2. And that's just not something. I mean, we went into this, we're like, oh, okay, Peacemaker, not really my first choice of a character for a spin-off show. And I mean, I love it. I absolutely want more of it.
Well, we also we don't know what they're going to do going forward with Waller,
Hmm.
right? We see her again. She's
Again,
watching
didn't
the
expect to see
news
her again.
when Adebayo um, gives a press conference and says, "Here's everything that's been going on,
Right,
and my mother's responsible," right?
right.
And just completely exposes the whole situation. And you see Waller sitting on her
Hmm.
sofa, and she's like, "What the?"
Talk about Task Force X, and
Right.
oh man, it's there's a lot of implications for the DCEU in this episode,
Hmm.
and I mean for the show period. Like, and that's they kind of loosely stayed with the DCEU, but the biggest part at the end where the Justice League appears
Yeah.
and confirmed this is in the DCEU. Well, we don't know that yet until Flashpoint, but it was. So let's just go ahead and talk about the. So they called. We see Adebayo talking on the phone. We're assuming to her mother. We never see Amanda Waller on the other end of the phone. But she's like,
Hmm.
"Can't you just call like the Justice League or something like that?" And she goes, "I don't have that." She goes, "I can't do that or something." And that was it. I was like, "That's smart because that's like in our TV shows. We want to where are the Avengers at?" Well, they did that in this. They're like, why can't? She's like, "I don't have that kind of
Yeah.
jurisdiction. It's like I just have a phone number to them."
Yeah. Well, even Superman and Lois, we've said, why doesn't he call Kara when
Right.
he's,
And it's
you
never
know,
really addressed. And
no.
hell, we don't even know if she's in the universe anymore. Not Superman and Lois, but whatever. Um, and then, so when they were walking out, and he's Peacemaker's got Harcourt in his arms, and they're doing that kind of slow mo walk, and you see the silhouettes. I said, okay, so we're just gonna do the silhouettes. We're not gonna get anybody. And then they walk past, and I was like, oh, that's like, oh, I said that looks like Momoa. They got a good stand-in for him. And then it's actually Momoa and Ezra Miller in there. I was like, oh my god! And they addressed the whole fish relations with Aquaman.
Hmm.
And Barry's like, yeah, but you do. And he said, F you, Barry. I was like, oh my god, no, they did not. And that was just, it was absolutely perfect. And I had no idea that was going to happen and wouldn't even
Yeah.
put that on my radar.
Yeah. And if you haven't seen it yet, and if you haven't heard about it yet, they had stand-ins for Wonder Woman and for
Hmm.
Superman, but not Godot and Cavill.
Yeah.
They weren't there. Interestingly enough, apparently from something I saw earlier, I don't know if you've seen this. I saw it like half an hour before we started recording. They had stand-ins in the scene for Batman and Cyborg.
Really?
They wiped them,
Why? I wonder why.
and I James Gunn was asked, and he was asked specifically about the Justice League and why Batman and Cyborg weren't there,
Hmm.
but he was also, I guess asked about Cavill and Godot not being seen, and he basically alluded to, it really wasn't his call.
I can see that,
There's
especially with all the
things com-
cyborg stuff going on.
there's things coming up. He said it
Mm.
may relate to the future. So
Mm.
I'm guessing with Godot it was a scheduling thing.
Yeah. Henry Cavill could have been. I have to imagine that.
He's in a lot right now.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing too. I want to imagine if he was asked by James Gunn, he would have done everything too, because James Gunn's one of those directors you don't want to disappoint. Like you want to
Right.
be on the good sides, and he's probably
Yeah.
really fun to work with. I mean, look at everyone who swings for him and believes in him 100%. And I'm just like, that would have been really cool. But I feel like with Flashpoint coming up, we're about to get a DCEU reset,
Hmm.
and I think that's the because everyone is starting to say that Michael Keaton's going to be the DCEU Batman, and they're going to reset it and have a whole new Batman. Maybe after the whole Matt Reeves film comes out in a couple weeks,
Right.
but I don't. We'll see what happens with it. I mean, there's a whole lot of talks. Again, we've talked about it numerous times on the show. Warner Brothers does not have it under control with their DC products, so
Yeah. The
doesn't
other
make it
thing
easy.
too that I saw was that Ezra Miller is apparently he was on the set, I think, of Guardians,
Mm.
and that's where they had to film his bit for this show. So
No. Oh, I
Marvel
think I saw something about this.
Marvel helped Gunn
Yeah.
with this project.
Oh, is that I'm trying to think because where did I read that at?
I think it was on comicbook.com.
Yeah, that's exactly where it was because like Marvel allowed Gunn to do all that and use their resources, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. With James Gunn, everybody loves this guy, and he
yeah,
must be really good to work with. We obviously know he brings in the money, and we're going to talk about
yeah,
that here in a little bit on some of my news stories. But the fact that Marvel said, "Sure, yeah, if you want to do that on our set, by all means. Do you need a camera or two? We can do that happen too." So that's just funny to me. Oh, that's
yeah,
awesome. And Myrn, the guy that plays Myrn, is in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. He's got a
yeah.
big role, and he said it's almost opposite of his character in Peacemaker. So I'm like, so we're gonna have like a jokey, go funny guy then, I imagine. But
Yeah, probably.
so, but Peacemaker, season 1, Chris, what's your overall view? If you had to rate it and review it on our scale, what would you put it for?
Oh God. Um, are we doing letter grade stars?
Let's do our letterbox stars.
Letterbox stars, I would go. I'd probably be at a 4.5.
Mm-hmm. It's exactly what my score is. I just
That's
it's just it's almost perfect, but it was great. Like I mean,
yeah,
the whole series just never there was never a bad episode. I feel like, and I just about a character I could care less about, and made it so much
yeah,
fun to watch.
yeah. A character that hell a year ago, I don't think anyone would have been saying, "Yeah, man, I can't wait to see if they do something with this
Right.
character." And now everybody loves him.
Yep. And he's
So
gonna be an international sensation, I bet, with everybody because he's so much fun.
yeah,
A
yeah,
lot of redemption
definitely.
arcs for him. So that is Peacemaker, the season. Dunzo with. We will return next week with our TV shows with Superman and Lois,
I
episode 6, I think.
I am curious to see how far the visions go with his dad.
Because he had, like, it's, at the very end of the episode, we see the golf butterfly, we see Eagly, and then his dad sitting on his porch. And I don't, cause, I mean, he's got trauma. He's got some head messed up psychological stuff going on there. Especially, I still seeing his dad. I thought he was about to kill somebody in this episode when he shot his dad again, or shot at his image of his dad. I was
Hmm.
about to say, oh no, someone's about to get shot. But they
Yeah,
didn't go that route, which I'm glad they didn't go that route. But we'll see. I mean, and I'm very curious too because we have another Suicide Squad spinoff with James Gunn. So I'm
hmm
very curious to see. I am sure they're going to link up the Peacemaker and whatever character they haven't announced yet linked up. But
yeah.
oh, it's going to be so much fun. I can't wait. I'm all in on James Gunn at this point. I mean, I don't know why I wouldn't be anyways. Notable news this week. Number 1, Owen Wilson confirms return for Loki season 2. Says filming will resume soon. I'm going to the wrap.com by Andy Ortez by this one. He might not know who Loki is anymore, but TVA agent Mobius will be back for season 2 of the Marvel Disney Plus series. Owen Wilson has officially confirmed he'll be back for the next round of shenanigans and Loki. Wilson's affirmed his reprisal during Wired's autocomplete interview, in which subjects answer the most Googled questions about themselves. Among Wilson's question was, "Is Owen Wilson coming back to Loki?" He was hesitant to respond, but eventually did give the affirmative and noted that he'll be heading back to Disney Lot imminently. Quote, "Yes, he is coming back to Loki. And I think we're going to start filming that pretty soon. I had a great time working on Loki, and I really enjoyed Tom Hiddleston and all the people on that."
There you go.
Yeah, well, I don't know if he was supposed to say that, but they are filming soon. So, I mean, and we've got Multiverse of Madness, which Loki is in. So,
Yeah. I
uh,
mean, I don't see anything wrong with him revealing that he's back.
mm-mm.
He didn't say for how long.
Right.
He
Or
could
how
be.
much, and
Yeah.
if it's a big part of it. But next couple of little news items here are just tweets. How I Met Your Father has been renewed for season 2.
Woohoo.
The next little bit, so Paramount Plus had a little tweet storm, if you will, on Thursday, just
Hmm.
announcing a bunch of things. Not really article worthy, but I'm going to read them all here. Halo TV series has already been renewed for a second season ahead of its first episode even being released. So, I mean, I guess awesome. We'll see how the first season is before I get really
So
excited about this.
I've seen a couple of people react uh, to, I guess they dropped their first trailer.
Mm-hmm.
um, and they weren't too thrilled with it.
I think it looks great. A lot of people are like, eh,
I
it's.
I think having humans as the antagonist
Mhm.
is a
Well,
problem for a
it's
lot of
there's a
people.
human with the Covenant because we see a lot
Yeah,
of Covenant in that trailer, but there is a human traitor that's working with them to take over the Earth and everything, or the Halo. And I'm very the Cortana. A lot of people have been talking about her, and she doesn't really look Cortana-ish. They made her more AI and not more digital AI, if that makes any
right.
sense. Like she looks like an actual person, which I mean, I don't care. Like a lot of the things that's been going on this weekend about the show is they revealed in an IGN interview that we're going to be able to see Master Chief's face quite a bit. I'm like, that's the only thing I don't like because we never see his face. We still don't even know what he looks like, and so I don't know why in the TV show. I guess to do human emotion more. But I say to that, look at the Mandalorian and what it's done,
Yeah,
and how well oh Lord, I'm blanking on his name. Pedro Pascal has done about showing emotion, and you hardly ever see his face after like an episode or two.
yeah.
So, but we'll see what it comes out. I'm staying optimistic. I don't know if I'm going to watch it. I want to, but I really do not need another streaming service on my bill. So, because I have everything else but Paramount at this point. So we'll see. But being a big Big Brother fan, if you get Paramount Plus, you get all the live feeds. So
Oh,
we'll see. Next tweet they did: Knuckles will be getting his own series after Sonic 2 on Paramount Plus, releasing in 2023, and Idris Elba will reprise his role for it. I said at the beginning of the show when we were talking about Peacemaker earlier, Peacemaker will be back for a season 2. John Cena and James Gunn have both confirmed that on Twitter on Thursday. And this next one here, The Last of Us TV show, not to be expected until 2023. Uh, I don't know how I feel about this one. I'm going to Polygon.com by Toussaint Egan for this one. Fans of The Last of Us, Naughty Dog's 2013 post-apocalyptic action-adventure game will have to wait a bit longer than anticipated for the live-action TV series premiere. Although the series was originally announced to appear in 2022, HBO and HBO Max Chief Content Officer Casey Bloys offered an update in an interview with Deadline, stating that the much-anticipated adaptation starring Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey was still in production. Quote, "It's not going to air in 2022, he told Deadline. They are still shooting in Canada, and I imagine you'll be seeing it in 2023. I mean, I feel like this is the show that's going to be talked about forever. We're just never going to see it again. So we'll never see it. I
I
mean,
mean,
we've been talking about it for, 2 years now?
yeah.
And it sounds like we're talking about another year until it comes out
But they
anyways.
are filming, so I mean
And as long
that's
as
a
they get it
plus.
done right, which I think Pedro Pascal says they're doing the show, they're doing the video game justice. So, and I believe him. I love Pedro Pascal. I don't think he could do any wrong at this point. Number 7 and last for our news here, Peacemaker finale had the biggest single day performance of any Max original show. I'm going to twitter.com by James Gunn, his direct quotes here. F yeah, Peacemaker finale had the biggest single day performance for a Max original series ever, and the finale viewing was up 44% over the premiere, thanks to all the fans who kept showing up more and more every week this season. 44% over the premiere. Watched it on Thursday alone. That's nuts.
Mm.
I wish, like, again, we talk about it all the time. I wish we could get metrics for these shows for streaming services,
Yeah,
uh, because I would like to know that. But of course, Warner Brothers and HBO are telling James Gunn all the stats. They say, "Hey, you're up 44%. It's our most watched thing ever."
yeah, and normally that goes in the opposite direction. Normally you get a big premiere number,
Mm-hmm.
a chunk of those people go, it's not really for me, and the number ends up smaller than that
Right.
for the finale. And in this case, they reversed it.
Complete opposite. Releases this week, February 21st to February 27th. Friday, February 25th, Vikings Valhalla drops on Netflix, and I cannot wait for it. I think it's like 60 or 70 years after Vikings from the History Channel, and I am all in. Also, this week, Superman and Lois is finally back after a 3 or 4 week hiatus, and I can't wait. We left it at such a good point in Superman and Lois. This one's gonna be so much more fun to get back into.
Yeah, Yeah,
So
absolutely. On to movies. Now, have you watched anything else this week?
I had no, not movie wise. No.
Yeah.
What about you? Anything?
Yeah. No, no, it's been a kind of a weird week. I mean, I had some days off and that was fun, but it's been kind of weird, so I just had time for this one movie.
Yeah.
Um, and that one movie was Sweet Girl, Netflix. Jason Momoa
Mm-hmm.
starring in this. The basic story is he has a family, a wife and a daughter, and the wife develops cancer and ends up dying, even though their doctor comes to them and says, "Hey, there's this new generic form of the drug that will save her. It's going to be a lot cheaper, and so prospects are good." Well, then the company that makes the name brand pays the company making the generic to withhold it from the marketplace indefinitely, and it ends up costing her her life.
Mm-hmm.
So
Sorry.
Tyler's
I was putting
playing
the
the
score in letterbox and dropped
he's,
my phone.
he's playing the drums over there. So Tyler is adding a backbeat to the whole thing. Um, no, the rest of the movie after that is him going after revenge.
Mm-hmm.
Because a reporter ends up contacting him saying, "Hey, I can blow this whole thing wide open." He meets him on a subway, and the reporter is stabbed to death
Mm-hmm.
there in the subway. And so after that, he's trying to expose the whole thing. Um, there is, toward the end, there is a little bit of a twist.
There's a huge twist. Like I was blown away by.
But
Yeah, we could talk about it. It's 20 to 21, and if you're watching this and listening to this, you know we're gonna talk about this movie. So yeah,
okay, you want to
yeah,
expose the whole
yeah,
thing?
I'm okay with it. It's been a year.
So basically, what happens is we follow in that stabbing on the subway. He fights the guy that stabbed. Momoa fights the guy that stabbed the journalist, and he ends up getting stabbed himself and kicked through the window of the train, which looked like it really hurt.
I don't think that could happen either. You know, those windows are probably really reinforced. Nothing shattered
Yeah,
like it was made out of
I
plexiglass.
don't know,
So
but Jason Momoa,
that's true.
he's a big
Big
dude.
dude.
Uh, so we see him continue on,
Hmm.
attempting to expose this, and then we find out that in fact, um, and it's a callback to a scene that the movie opens with, standing on the roof of a
Hmm.
stadium when Momoa
No,
jumps.
no, 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 not just any stadium, Chris. That's PNC Park, home of the Pittsburgh Pirates. Okay, I was really
Yeah,
excited.
okay.
I said, it was like Pittsburgh. I said, is that PNC Park? And like they did a whole sweep, and it said home of the Pirates on the jumbotron. I said, yeah, that's
So
awesome.
so in the movie, Momoa's character's name is Ray Cooper,
Mm-hmm.
right? And then his daughter's name is Rachel. But as we see, now it's actually before that when we get the reveal,
Mm-hmm.
um, that it's been Rachel the whole time doing this. That when he's stabbed and kicked through the window of the subway car, he dies,
Mm-hmm.
but he's with her, so to speak.
Right.
She keeps kind of feeling his presence. So all the things we've seen him do has actually been her,
Mm-hmm.
and she's she's tough. I mean, it's nuts. Um, but she ends up getting out of the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering if we'll get a part two. Um,
That is what I googled. So we got this covered. Which take this with a grain of salt. Never heard of this website. Let's see. How blah blah. Here we They're a bunch of fluff for this one. We're now hearing from sources, the same ones who told us that Enola Holmes 2 was in the works long before it was officially confirmed, that Jason Momoa's hit Sweet Girl could be the next line for a multi-film treatment. Critically, the action thriller is widely panned and holds a Rotten Tomato score of 19%. I don't know how it's
What?
widely, yeah. But it held on to the top spot, the most watched list for a full week. So, but they're saying that it's going to be. We'll see.
Um,
It's a weird
this
article.
has this has some really good kills in it.
Oh, the fight scenes are really well choreographed.
Yeah. Um, I'm gonna say, to me, the pacing was amazing. I had to get up at one point and get a drink, so I
Mm.
paused it, and I figured I was about 45 minutes in, and I was at the scene where they've left the diner and they stole the tow truck,
Mm-hmm.
and I looked at the time remaining when I got back, and it was only like 35 minutes
Yeah.
remaining. So
It picks up
so
right there at the end.
yeah, it was all. I thought I was 45 minutes in, and I was like an hour and 15 in.
Yeah.
So the pacing is really good. Um, this film, I gave it. I was going to give it immediately after watching it. I was going to give it a 4.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of came down a little bit off that after having slept on it, but I'm in a 3.5, which
Okay.
is solid. Like it's
Yeah.
like a 7 out of 10. Um, I think that. Well, go ahead and what are you thinking about
I enjoyed it. To me, there were some slow parts for me, but like there was a lot of the talking scenes with him and his daughter.
it? Hmm.
A lot of the talking scenes were slow to me. But after that twist when she's on top of PNC Park and like she said, remember who you are. She goes, I've been talking to you the whole time, is what she said. I was like, you've been talking to the daughter. I said, oh no, that's the daughter. And then it does the camera pan over and it's her. And I said, oh, did he run off somewhere? And then I got to thinking, I was like, no. I said, he's dead. I said, well, when did he die then? I said, which fight did he die in? I didn't realize it was the subway thing. But that got me thinking about the whole movie. And each time, like they hinted on some of the things, but you could tell they gave us hints that it's her. It's not really him throughout this whole movie. And like the one for me with the bells when they went to the motel, when he sets up the bell contraption. She
Uh-huh.
when they went first into the motel, she messed with the bells in the lobby. And I was like, okay, that's a weird little point out. And then it comes back into the movie later. And I was like, okay, that's maybe where he got the idea from. No, it was her. And then there was one other point that is clearly her. Oh, the scene where the hitman kills the guy, kills Shaw in the tunnel. He said,
Right.
what are you gonna do when you're motherless, fatherless, and just a little girl or something like that. I forget the direct quote, but he was talking about her. He said, you're motherless and fatherless, and I didn't realize it because he was acting like it was past tense or was going to be past tense, like it hadn't happened yet, but it was actual real life already. And
Mm.
I thought I love that kind of writing, like the twist. I did not expect there being one in this movie at all. I just thought it was like it'd be your classic little action film, and that was gonna be it.
So the first thing for me that I was like, at the time, not knowing there was going to be a twist, I was like, all right, that's a little bit of a plot hole, right? Was he goes to the fundraiser
Mm-hmm.
and we see Ray, and to disguise himself, he walks over to this rack of suits for the waiters and stuff and
Right.
finds one. Like they just randomly have one that'll fit someone the
Yeah.
size of Jason
Well,
Momoa.
they were even alluding to that though in that
But
scene of
yeah,
her just being her. Like it's things you
yeah,
don't even think about
yeah.
until after the twist.
That's how she found one that would fit because it
Mm-hmm.
was actually her. Um, and then even the fact that he's Ray and she's Rachel,
Mm-hmm.
they're the names are so similar. Um, yeah, this film,
They they
this was
they they did so good with it.
the diner scene, um,
See,
where
that was another point
we
that they called back to it, like
yeah
that it was her.
we see him talking to um, we see Ray talking to the hitman, the
Mm-hmm.
contract killer, But the story that he tells him is of how when he was young
Mm-hmm.
and men came into his village. So then you realize it's her he was talking
Mm-hmm.
to, and it all makes
Talking
perfect
about being a
sense of
kid.
why he
Yeah.
would tell that story.
Well,
Yeah.
and like, because when they were leaving the diner, the first scene, he said, "Rachel, I'll see you later." And like at first, you're like, "Oh, okay, he's threatening his daughter now." But no, he was just talking to her, and like this is just that was crazy to me. And that was like one
And
of the big plot holes. Not really a plot hole, but just kind of like they glazed over it. There was a lot of time jumps in this
yeah,
movie. But like after the stabbing, like we never see him in the hospital or anything. We just
right.
immediately go. What was it? I think it was 2 years later, 24 months. And
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, they're just doing another little time jump, and he's healed and everything. But no, she's in a different apartment, living by herself. And oh,
hmm
that's so cool.
Yep. Yeah. I really liked it, and I think I don't know. Like when I pulled it up on Letterbox, people were at 2.3. I think is the average, and I'm thinking, what are these people watching?
Right, I'm not watching the same film. I
No.
gave it a 3, which is just right on average, you know. I mean, it's just a
Yeah.
good action flick. And let me
Yeah.
see, I'm trying to figure out. Yeah, 2.3 is what it's still at. I thought the common number is 2. So, what 3.2
I
thousand
just
people voting? Yeah. I enjoyed it. And the twist is what got me. And just,
yeah.
like I said it earlier, but I love when the shows or in these movies, it's so well written. We're talking about it and we're like, oh, yeah, the diner scene, he's talking about like being a little kid. Well, he's talking about her because she's still a little kid. And
hmm
and you don't realize it when you're watching it the first time until like you
Right.
think about it. I mean, the whole fundraiser scene because we see
hmm
Ray look at a little girl handing him the drinks, and if you
hmm
notice, like if you go back and watch it, there's no male bartenders or anything. It's all women, and that's
hmm
how like she was able to spill the drink, and no one even noticed who spilled the
hmm
drink and things. I was just so cool. It's just so well done. I love stuff like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Absolutely. It's if the twist had not happened, if it had just been a straightforward thing, I'm probably at a 2.5 or a 3
Yeah.
because that made the movie.
Mm-hmm. It really did. Because I was like, oh, just
Oh,
another little action movies we're watching here. So
yeah. Yeah. Cool. Well, next week, I'm looking forward to this one too. Next week we will be reviewing The Power of the Dog,
I don't think we've
starring
reviewed a western yet.
uh no, I don't think we have.
Mm-hmm.
Starring Benedict Cumberbatch. Some of you folks may have heard of him.
Mm-hmm.
And Kirsten Dunst. And then in 2 weeks, at least one film that we'll be reviewing is Murder Mystery,
Mm-hmm.
which is a couple of years old, but
Yeah,
I haven't seen it.
it's.
So
I think you'll like it.
yeah,
Yeah, I'm excited to watch that one again.
it's got Jennifer Aniston in it. I'm
Mm-hmm.
sure I'll like
Good little Adam Sandler movie.
it. Notable news: the next installment of Quiet Place is coming next year and will be directed by Michael Sarnowski. A Quiet Place Part 3 is coming in 2025.
We're gonna have to watch the second
So,
one for our October review as well.
mhm.
Actually, we would probably watch that anytime really. Part two.
Yeah, yeah, really, because it's not necessarily. I mean, it's a horror movie, but
Yeah.
eh. Um, Tyler Posey is returning as Scott McCall to star in Teen Wolf the movie at Paramount Plus. The movie will set up a new series called Wolfpack.
Did you ever get into Teen Wolf, either the original or this most recent one on MTV?
The original movies, yeah, I watched those growing up.
So the series is one of my favorite TV series of all time.
Yeah.
I watched it going through high school until it up and ended, and this is really exciting news for me. I'm really pumped up because Tyler Hoechlin and Ian Bohen are both alumni from Teen Wolf. They haven't been either one of them have not been set to return for this movie and or
Mhm.
series, but there's talks. I mean, he's obviously filming Superman right now, so I mean
Right.
he's a major character in the show. So
Will. Yeah, I may give that a watch.
It's fun. Like it's one of those. It's definitely a teen, older teen focused show.
it,
But the visual effects and storylines are so good, and like it's one of those shows they rotate cast members a whole lot to keep it fresh,
mhm.
and a lot of fun. You'll notice a lot of people from a lot of things we watch in that show.
Did you ever watch the original Teen
Mm-mm.
Wolf with
It's
Michael
been,
J. Fox?
yeah. I want to now because of all of this, just to cause compare it. So
It's probably going to be quite different,
yeah, I know the effects are probably not that good.
right? Um, Finally, Dead from Deadline and Justin Kroll. John Cena to star in Looney Tunes live-action animated hybrid pick Coyote versus Acme. Says following the success of its recent Peacemaker series that included a season 2 renewal, Warner Brothers and John Cena are staying in business together. Cena set to star in the WB's Looney Tunes animated hybrid pick Coyote versus Acme. Dave Green will direct with a screenplay from Sammy Birch based on the Looney Tunes characters in the New Yorker article Coyote vs. Acme by Ian Fraser. The film follows Wile E. Coyote, who, after Acme products fail him one too many times in his dogged pursuit of the Roadrunner, decides to hire a billboard lawyer to sue the Acme Corporation. The case pits Wiley and his lawyer against the latter's intimidating former boss, Cena, but a growing friendship between man and cartoon stokes their determination to win. James Gunn's producing this.
Mm-hmm. That's where it gets. He's busy.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, so that'll be interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Uh,
He's had a big week. Both
yeah,
John Cena and James Gunn have had a big week.
yeah, definitely, definitely. Um, no new releases this week.
Starting to hit that little bit of an early year slump. It's
Yeah,
going to pick up though
and
in March and April.
yeah, March we have the Batman.
We've got let's see, we've got we've got the Netflix show, the Add-on Project we want to watch.
Uh huh.
Let's see, in April we've got Morbius, Sonic the Hedgehog 2, The Northman I want to watch really bad,
We
Fantastic Beasts
hope
3.
we hope we've got Morbius in
Yeah,
April.
I don't. There's no way they're delaying that again. There's no way. I put money on that one.
You say that.
I know. It's already been delayed like 6 or 7 times now. Video games. Chris, did you get to play any good games this week while you were off?
I did dip back into Valhalla and Spider-Man a little bit.
Mm,
So yeah,
still enjoying them.
enjoying them.
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm still on the Owl of Sky in Valhalla.
yeah.
So
Still mess with Cassandra.
now actually I'm. You have to find some shards,
Mm.
um, gold shards for something, and I won't get into it for those that haven't done that yet. But um, I've collected 2 of them so far, so now I'm looking for number 3.
I need to play that before March 10th, before the new DLC drops for that. Lord, what a year. I have been surprisingly. I know everyone sees the statue over my shoulder here and my box over here, but surprisingly, I have been playing Cyberpunk 2077 all week, ever since Tuesday. So Tuesday, on Monday they said, "Hey, we've got an announcement and a live stream. We're doing a CD Projekt Red about Cyberpunk." Everyone said it's obviously going to be about the shadow drop for the new next gen stuff because things are starting to be seen in the PlayStation, Xbox stores. And sure enough, they did shadow drop it along with a whole list of patch notes that everybody's been wanting and quality of life improvements that should have been honestly at the game at the start. So I delved back in, started a whole new character. I'm in love with it. Like, this is the game I wish we would have gotten when it released, and I feel like this is the game that was supposed to be what we got when it released. And like, I haven't had any bugs. Everything looks
Yeah,
absolutely beautiful, and it's so much fun to play. And that hurts because of the other game that came out on Friday, Horizon Forbidden West, like the statue here I've got here for my collector's edition. That game is so much fun, and it's the sequel that I've wanted. I am 7 hours in so far. I'm still barely scratched the surface on it. And I
yeah,
mean, even after this podcast, I'm going to go back upstairs and play it. But it is so much fun. It's so beautiful. And I can't wait to beat it. Because, I mean, The first one is my favorite game of all time, and this one, story wise, is starting to already pick up and be that way. Like we're getting introduced to new characters, and some of the characters from the old game is in this one as well. But what I love that Gorilla has done with this game is that each side character and each little side quest you can do, each character is fleshed out. Like it's not just like a general looking NPC. Everyone has their own. And there's quest upon quest upon quest in each city and town you go into, and it's beautiful. Oh, it's so much fun. I really can't wait. I've barely gotten into this game, and like I'm in the open world part of it, but I'm maybe 10% in, and like I'm still just doing a bunch of different things. But I can't wait, and that's gonna suck because Destiny 2 Witch Queen expansion drops on Tuesday, and it's hard to balance my time between those two games. So we'll
I
see.
just I'm I think CD Projekt Red. I think it's unfortunate for them.
Yeah,
I mean, it's kind of their own doing to some degree. Um,
not just
they
it's not the
they
developer's fault. It's the higher ups who, like
yeah
the CEOs and stuff, that said, no, we're getting this game out now. I don't care what state it's in,
yeah
and
yeah. But
horrible.
now they've missed the boat
Mm-hmm.
because you had everybody had that window of time set aside to play that game,
Mm-hmm.
and now it's what, a year and 4 months or so later,
Yeah.
and other stuff's coming out, and
Mm-hmm.
I
I
don't.
mean,
I think
Horizon Forbidden West being one of them, and
yeah, and
Sifu, Elden Ring.
people that Sifu looks really good.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but everybody that was burned by it when it launched, like I really don't have a desire. Even hearing you talk about how
Yeah.
good it is, I don't have a desire to really jump back in.
I think once you, I think once you sit in and start doing it again, I think you will. Because even on the Series S, everyone is saying it is so much better. And like I'm even saying from the beginning missions on, like I'm just, it's a noticeable difference, like a very
Yeah,
noticeable difference to me. And I'm like, where, because I remember the bugs from playing it that I had. And a lot of people say, oh, I didn't have any bugs on my Series X or PC. And I'm like, well, the majority of everybody else is, but it's it looks so much better. And I know they put ray tracing and things in there. It just looks great, and I'm invested in it. But it's the same thing with Dying Light 2. It's on the back burner until Horizon Forbidden West is done, and I'm taking a slump in Destiny. So,
yeah.
but we'll see if I can remember anything by then and have to restart again or whatever else. um, Only one big news story here from the video game side of things. Going to Deadline.com, Netflix is planning to make a film based on the world of Bioshock. This is by Matt Grober. Netflix is partnering with video game holding company Take-Two Interactive and its game publisher 2K to produce a film based on the renowned video game franchise Bioshock. Set across multiple dystopian and visionary landscapes gone wrong, the Bioshock video game series has blended sci fi and horror to pose unique existential and societal questions, reshaping how game stories are told, all amidst pulse pounding action gameplay that rewards sharp shooting, clever planning, and lethal improvisation. The award-winning franchise, first introduced by 2K in 2007, has sold more than 39 million copies worldwide across the original releases of titles including Bioshock, Bioshock 2, and Bioshock Infinite. Have you ever gone into Bioshock games at all?
I don't think so.
I
No, I
have.
don't think yeah.
I've played all three. I've got the collector's edition up on the shelf over here. It's really fun, and if they do this movie right, it's gonna be really good. But to me, this should be a TV show, just like The
Yeah,
Witcher. Don't do a one movie. Like there is so much you can do with this series. Don't do one movie, and we'll see how it turns out. But I think it'll do really well as a TV show with weekly episodes or just a drop like they do for The Witcher. So,
yeah.
uh, notable new releases this week, of course, Destiny 2, The Witch Queen on everything but the Switch, February 22nd. I am already ready. I'm about to put the Xbox back down in here so I can just nonstop play with all my buddies. Uh, Final Fantasy VI Pixel Remaster for PC on February 23rd. And then another big one for all you Dark Souls fans, Elden Ring comes out on everything but the Switch on February 25th. Now that's a big one everybody is going to be getting into.
Have you heard? So they announced MLB The Show, right?
Mm-hmm.
They announced its new drop. They're putting it on the Switch.
Yeah, I don't know why.
It doesn't make sense because the Switch is probably how many? I don't have a Switch, but you're probably looking at what, 50 to 60 frames per second.
I don't know 30. There's no 50 to
30.
60. Yeah, there's nothing cap.
So
Let me double check, but yeah.
so 30, and then because they do with that game, they do have cross-platform play. Can you imagine somebody playing at 30 frames a second,
Mm-hmm.
trying to play someone who's on an Xbox or a PS5?
Yeah, it's.
You're gonna. I I
Mm-mm.
think they should have done a stripped-down version of the game. Maybe just done the Diamond Dynasty portion of the game,
Yeah.
or just the franchise portion. Said here, we're gonna.
So it looks like docked is 60 frames per second, but in portable mode is 30.
Yeah.
So.
So it's not. It's.
I don't understand. Well, that's something else too. So the Ezio collection came out on the Switch last week, and I'm like, do I want to play that for the third time in my life? The answer is probably yes. I mean, I've got the tattoo of the Assassin's Creed logo, and I'm just like, I'll probably wait till it's heavily discounted. But I'm like, to play Assassin's Creed on the go, it's gonna look like it did when it first released for the 360 and PlayStation 3. But again, more Assassin's Creed. Anyways, so I don't know. We're in desperate need of a new Nintendo hardware. The OLED is not a big enough jump for what it's supposed to be. So because we need a Switch Pro, and I will jump on that day one because everything.
They need something because
I've got my Switch handy right here.
They're starting to fall behind.
So but that's Nintendo's MO though. Like that's how they always are. They'll have a big innovation thing like the Switch, and then after that, years until something new.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, I guess their bread and butter is their software, not their hardware.
Not their hardware. Not like Xbox and PlayStation. But guys, thank you all so much for listening and watching. We hope you enjoy this episode of the Nerdwide Podcast. Don't forget to share on your favorite social media platforms, and also don't forget to rate and review us podcasts on whatever podcasting service you use. Social media, you can follow us at Nerdwide at nerd_wide. You can follow me personally at Ty_Haynes. And then you can follow Chris at MavTN7. If you want to follow us on Facebook, just search in Facebook.com. Not Facebook. You can search in Nerdwide.com in that search bar, and we'll be the first ones that pop up. But guys, this has been the Nerdwide Podcast. Thank you so much for watching and listening. We cannot wait to see you next time, and we're going to have some fun. Superman and Lois, baby.
Later, guys.